Hello, welcome back to History of Wine and the Vine. I'm Emily Kate. So this week we're going to be continuing the wordplay series, and whereas last week we discussed things that generally made sense and people got right. Historians understand the kind of vineyard hieroglyphs and different things like this, and the number of times that the wine turned up in the Bible and the different words. We got that. Historians, this week we're going to talk about what we didn't get. So this is kind of mistakes brought about by word backgrounds and roots, and it's kind of a fun one, so let's get started. First we're going to go back to Babylonia. And Babylonia had a lot of white wine kind of ascribed to it. It was believed to have been made there and drank there, consumed there. But the thing is that this was all based on a mistake from kind of reading the wrong word. So a historian read kind of the pictorial image of grapes and sun and thought that this meant white wine. I guess kind of like light and grapes and for whatever reason. And so for the longest time, people thought that kind of Babylonia was very popular to have this white wine, and every place that they found this kind of two-figure word, they just said, okay, white wine. The thing is, we found out now, this stands for raisin. So it seems obvious now, but it wasn't obvious then. This is actually raisin. So people have had to go all the way back and change a whole bunch of things and change all of their conceptions of what was going on at the time because somebody read the word wrong, because it actually wasn't there. And grapes were actually used as a sweetener. So you would make grape syrup, which was like simple sugar, essentially how we use it now, or just sugar, because sugar really wasn't available to people, and the only time that beekeeping came into existence, kind of to like farm honey, was in 2000 BC. So before then, it was really just grape sugar that was being used, and date sugar. So dates were being dried as well. And obviously it would all be dried because the more you dry something, kind of you more concentrate the sugars. So this was kind of a bit of a mix-up. I'm just going to grab my paper here. A bit of a mix-up that happened, but luckily we found it out now. We went back, and they still say that there's a lot of kind of wine in the history of Babylonia that's not actually wine, that's actually grapes, that we have to kind of go back further and kind of demystify. But a fun thing for us to talk about, this kind of misconception of wine and grapes. And next we have a very, very cool, very kind of modern, you might drink this yourself. It is the story of, actually I'm not going to tell you yet. I'm going to tell you the old name. So the old name is Sack, Old Sack. And so during the beginning of the 16th century, Sack from the Cadiz region of Spain was actually just gaining popularity like crazy. And people wanted to know what to call it, obviously, and they did call it Sack, but then they started calling it Jerez Sack, because Jerez was one of the regions, and then kind of this got changed to Xeres Sack, and then the transliteration of the Moorish word, it actually got changed to sherry. So it's sherry. And so if you were thinking about what sherry used to be called, it is Sack. So actually what happened here was that historians thought that the word sherry or sack was actually kind of a corruption of the word sec, so S-E-C. And that would be kind of a French word. And then you also had seco in Spanish. So they thought, okay, this was talking about the sweetness, if it was sweet or if it was not sweet, and it was kind of left like that. But it turns out that they're not actually discussing the sweetness or the dryness of this wine. Instead, they're discussing the kind of consumption pattern, because it's not from seco or sec. The root of the word is actually the verb sakar, which is to take out, and the noun saka has actually two different meanings. one of which is to export. So the name of sack was actually kind of created because this wine was typically exported. It was not consumed in any great percentage in the actual region. It was made for exportation. So super awesome root of the word kind of story there. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure to tune back in next week because we will still be talking about wordplay, and this time we'll be discussing not necessarily the actual wine, but we'll be discussing words that have to do with the effects of wine and how they got their origins. So give the video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe so you don't miss us next week, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!